Hey, listen to me and stay with me now. This is Deuteronomy 21. I'm going to read about 9 verses. Listen to me and stay with me. I want you to hear this. I want you to hear what's going on. It says, if a man is found slain, lying in a field in the land the Lord your God is giving you to possess, and it is not known who killed him, your elders and judges shall go out and measure the distance from the body to the neighboring towns. Then the elders of the town nearest the body shall take a heifer that has never been worked and has never worn a yoke, and lead her down to a valley that has not been plowed or planted, and where there is a flowing stream. There in the valley they are to break the heifer's neck. The priest, the sons of Levi, shall step forward, for the Lord your God has chosen them to minister and to pronounce blessings in the name of the Lord, and to decide all cases of dispute and assault. Then all the elders of the town nearest the body shall wash their hands over the heifer whose neck was broken in the valley, and they shall declare, our hands did not shed this blood, nor did our eyes see it done, except as atonement for your people Israel, whom you have redeemed, O Lord. And do not hold your people guilty of the blood of an innocent man, and the blood shed will be atoned for. So you will purge from yourselves the guilt of shedding innocent blood, since you have done what is right in the eyes of the Lord. Okay, I know that was a lot to take in right there, but as I'm reading this, and I thought, I asked God, why does it matter, Lord, if there's this innocent man, there's this random guy nobody who knows about in this random field that's died? God, why couldn't you just ignore that? God, why couldn't you just move on? God, why did that have to be dealt with? And as I'm reading that, people, I really realize we're so much like that with our sin. That guys, we want to take our sin and just throw it off in a random field and just move on with life. We just want to take our sin and just move on, throw it over here, and just pretend like everything's okay and just move on. And guys, we have got to stop doing that. This sin had to be dealt with. It didn't matter who did it. Nobody knew who killed this innocent man. He was in a random field. But guys, the sin was still sin against God, and it had to be dealt with. Guys, so many believers and so many Christians out there, including myself, we have fallen so far from God because we've taken our sin and thrown it in a field. We've taken our lives and we've gone for maybe months, days, or years of unconfessed and unrepentant sin toward God. Either you look to the cross and acknowledge that Jesus has paid for it, or either you acknowledge that you've truly sinned and you will pay for it. Guys, we cannot continue to harden our hearts to the living God. I beg with you and I plead with you and I urge you right now, according to the scriptures, to ask God and to think where that sin was that you threw it off in that field somewhere, and ask God to search your heart and to seek your mind. God, is there any confessed sin, anything that I've taken and just thrown away? Because that's what we want to do a lot of times. We want to take that sin and throw it away right before we jump into the church building on Sunday and act like everything's alright. We want to take that unconfessed sin and throw it into a field before we work into our job place, before we go and see our kids, before we go and see family, and we just want to throw on a mask while the sin's over there, and all the while our heart is becoming so hardened to the voice of God. But the sin had to be dealt with. Deal with your sin. Jesus paid for it on the cross, and either you'll acknowledge that he did that he paid for it, or ultimately you will pay for it. Why would you choose to pay for your sin when you know ultimately that Jesus paid for it and you just acknowledge it through him? Guys, we have got to walk and stay in the Spirit of God. Take your unconfessed sin, your unrepentant heart, and just throw yourself upon Jesus and let the Holy Spirit of God cleanse you from the inside out and purify and sanctify you. Stop throwing your sin in a field and confess and get right with God.